कृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयो श्रित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। पूज्यपाद महाराज की प्रणाम करी। महाराज दे प्रणाम। আমি ইংলিশে বলবো, আপনারা দয়া করে ক্ষমা করে দিবেন। ইংলিশে বলবো আমি। The subject that we have chosen today is a new interpretation of Advaita, which actually is not the correct way to say. What I wanted to say is there is a different outlook at viewing Advaita Vedanta. Nowadays, there is a lot of study in Vedanta, even in Advaita Vedanta, etc. Thanks to YouTube, there are so many speakers who are delivering wonderful lectures on Advaita Vedanta. This interest in Vedanta itself and in Advaita Vedanta in particular is not limited only to India. Elsewhere also there is a lot of study going on, and there are so many speakers who give wonderful notions and ideas from different angles. But there are also a few who, due to lack of proper understanding of the central theme of Advaita Vedanta, may misinterpret or may give some different ideas of Advaita. So I thought we should speak about this subject based on tradition and also on modernity. Whenever you speak of Advaita Vedanta, what do you say? This world is unreal, Maya. This world is unreal. Now, what is this unreal? Is it magic? Suppose you remove this. Is there Brahman below? Is this a cover? What does this unreal mean? This is a question. As they say, Gatanugotik. This tradition has been passed on from hand to hand down these centuries or even down the decades, and everybody uses the word unreal. This world is unreal. Brahman is real. This world is unreal. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. That is translated as unreal. So now, are we all unreal? Is this world unreal? Is this universe? And what does this mean? That is the question. Before going to that, we would like to touch upon the history of this Advaita Vedanta. Did Shankaracharya initiate Advaita Vedanta? Was he the originator or founder or propounder of Advaita Vedanta? Not necessarily. Advaita, Vishishta and Dvaita and other schools also are all ever present ideals or viewpoints of reality. In the Vedas, we have this idea. Na sadasit, no sadasit, tama asit, tamasa gudhamagre, atmava idamagra asit. In the initial stages or in the beginning, agre, atmava asit, there was only the Atman. There was only one reality. That is what Advaitins say. They also say in the Upanishad that Dve Rupe Brahmanaha Vyaktam cha Avyaktam cha. The visible and the non-visible or two forms of Brahman. These are some of the Vedic ideas. There are hundreds of them, in fact, about the idea of Advaita. The word itself is sort of negative. Advaita, duality, non-duality, Advaita. So, later on, we come to the Bhagavad Gita, because that could be the next of the Prasthanatrayi. There, Krishna says that this reality and unreality are two aspects. Then we come down to the Brahma Sutras, and later on we have the commentators. The general notion is that Bhagavan Shankaracharya wrote commentaries on the three ways to liberation, Prasthanatrayi, and thus established Advaita Vedanta on firm grounds. This is the tradition. This tradition also says, according to Shankara Digvijaya, that he was born in Kerala, etc. Whether or not he was from Kerala is a different question. Of course, it is accepted, Kaladi, etc. But not a word of Malayalam in any of his literature. Not a word of Malayalam. Because if there is a scholar from Bengal, he will write at least one or two poems or something in Bengali. It's natural. But anyway, in any case, he traveled all over India. He established centers. The main act of Shankaracharya in establishing this Advaita Vedanta was that he had to fight a lot of opposing forces. That was the most important work of Shankaracharya. There were dualists, there were people who did sacrifices, who thought that that was the only way to Brahman or reality or Swarga. Then there were the Sankhyans. So Shankara had to, within his short span of life, defend Advaita Vedanta by discussing with different people and establishing this path. That is his greatness. Secondly, there is an idea around that Shankara was a crypto-Buddhist. You have all heard that Shankara accepted some of the ideas of Buddhism, etc. We hear that. According to Buddhism, as you all know, there were 4 important schools, Buddhistic schools. One is Vaibhashika, the second one is Sautrantika, the third one was Yogacara Buddhism, and the fourth was Shunyavadin. The idea is that Shankaracharya might have taken ideas from Shunyavada Buddhism. Bahyartha Pratyakshatvam. This is Vaibhashika. What you see outside, Bahyartha. Artha means things or real. They are not imaginary. Bahyartha Pratyakshatvam. They are solid. This was Vaibhashika Buddhist. Bahyartha Anumeyatvam. The things that you see outside are not there. There is no chair, there is no table. It's all imaginary. Anumeyatvam. That was Sautrantika Buddhas. The third group called Yogacara Buddhists said, Bahyartha Shunyatvam. Nothing is there outside. You are imagining things. There is nothing outside. This idea was taken up and developed further by phenomenologists in the late 19th century in France, etc. Phenomenologists also said that the external idea is not there. In fact, what we see is this. Suppose you see this table, by the time the process happens and it goes inside, it's history. It may not be there at all. Suppose you stand here and see some star. You are seeing the star, maybe 10,000 years ago the star is already gone, but the light reaches you later. Similarly, things outside are shunyatvam. Then came Nagarjuna, the Shunyavada Buddhist. He said nothing is there. Sarva shunyatvam. Standing on this solid earth, he declared that Sarva shunyatvam. So they think that Shankaracharya accepted these ideas and developed his theory. But we all know that Buddhism is considered a Nastika philosophy. Why do we call that? Because they don't accept the Veda. What is accepting the Veda? Accepting reality or Brahman as the ground of everything. If somebody says there is no basis, no ground, they are Nastikas. Charvakas are Nastikas. Buddhas are Nastikas. So Shankaracharya was a Astika. He based his philosophy on the Vedas. So Advaita, speaking of history still, was already there. Shankara established Advaita Vedanta. Now we come to the important idea of what exactly Shankara said. You can see hundreds of videos, tens of videos at least, and books and articles. Oh, Shankara said this world is unreal, this is unreal. Did Shankara really say this? If we consider his Brahma Sutra Bhashya as the standard, he said in the beginning, as you all know, Yushmad Asmat Pratyaya Gocharayoh Vishaya Vishayinoh Tamah Prakashavat Viruddha Swabhavayoh Itaretara Bhava Anupapattau Siddhayam, etc. There are two. He never said that everything is unreal, everything is Bhelki, Maya. No. He said Yushmad and Asmad are two things. What does that mean? There is something called I, there is something called you. This you may be this world, this body itself. There are two. But what is the mistake happening? We are confusing you for me for you. Itaretara bhava anupapattau siddhayam. Even though we know that you cannot be I cannot be, we are confusing it. This adhyasa, which is the central word of Advaita Vedanta, which many commentators and speakers don't say about, is the problem. Wrong knowledge. Shankara was saying that there is a confusion. You confuse I for you, you for me. That means, what is this I? We don't know. We say this body is I. This body with clothes is I. But actually that is not I. We go deeper and say it is not I. So Shankara was saying that. Secondly, I have that quotation. Shankaracharya wrote in the Bhagavad Gita commentary on 4th chapter. This is very interesting. I am insisting on this because I will come to the point later. Nausthasya navi gachantyam tatasteshu agatishu nageshu pratikula gati darshanat dureshu chakshusha asannikristeshu gachatsu gatya bhava darshanat. I will tell you what it is about. There is a man who is traveling on a boat in the evening. He sees trees going backwards. He sees above and the stars are stationary. Shankara says, this confusion also is there. Along with this first confusion of I confusing for you, you confusing for I, there is this confusion also. What is that? You think that the trees are moving backwards. They are stationary, virtually. But the stars are moving very fast, but they appear to be stationary. Now, in recent times, who said this? Who got the Nobel Prize in 1905, 1915, etc. for relativity? So, relativity is something different from reality and unreality, about which I shall speak later. Shankaracharya also says in another place in the Bhagavad Gita, suppose you say everything is avidya, etc. So the opponent asks him, so avidya kasya? Shankara says, yasya drishyate tasya eva. So it is only an individual oriented universe. That means what he wants to say is, what you think of I is wrong. Shankara's main thrust and concern was to say that the idea of false ego has to be removed. That is the central point of Advaita Vedanta. Oh, this world is unreal, this universe is unreal, everything is Maya, everything is Belki, everything. Not like that. It is also possible, but the main thing is false ego is unreal. Who am I really? I am confusing myself with this body and thinking that this body is me. Shankara says no. So the whole thrust is about this false ego. When this goes, false ego goes, our confusion about this world also goes away. So coming to this Maya, we are in this world called Maya. We say Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, this Mithya Jagat. So what is this Mithya? It has been traditionally translated as unreal. It is not unreal, it is relative. What is relativity? Everything is real at that moment. When you see, later on, it changes. The world famous example which is given thousands of times is of rope and snake. So there is darkness and you suddenly see a piece of rope and you think it is a snake. Then you bring a lamp and see that it is a snake. What happened here? Actually, when you saw the snake, you saw the snake. You saw the snake relatively. When you saw the rope, you saw the rope relatively. When you see Brahman only, nothing else, then you are seeing more reality. So everything is time-bound relativity. That is what Shankara said. What do I mean till now? What I have said is, historically Shankara was one of the founders in the sense of he established the philosophical basis of Advaita Vedanta. It was there already. Secondly, Shankara said that there is always a confusion between what is objective or what is an object and what is a subject. Who is the subject? Shankara wanted to remove the wrong notion of false subjective. I use my false ego, which is not my real I, and think that that is the real thing. Shankara said, no, that is not the thing. So what Advaita Shankara taught was, go to that reality. And what about this world, etc.? Yes, this is all relative, not unreal, relative. In what sense? Time bound, desha kala. everything is time bound. Even many of you physicists, etc., may know that what you call solid is not solid at all. It has been proven now. When you press this and you think this is a solid table or something like that, it is not solid. What is happening is the atoms here are pressing and these atoms are hitting back, and therefore you feel that solidity. Otherwise, everything is just space. What we call empty space also is not empty space, but it is thin matter. There is matter only. This is strong. So therefore Shankara wanted to say only this. So what is Advaita according to Shankara? Everything is relative. That is okay. What are we doing now with this relativity? We think this is all permanent and we hold on to this. That is the problem. Everything is relative, everything changes, everything is time bound, but we think this is all permanent and stable and we hold on to that because of this false ego, false I. That is where we are wrong. That Shankara says you must search who you are, not just Shankara, our scriptures. Find out who you are. You know the famous story of that little boy who went to his father and asked him, I want to know Brahman. Tapasa Brahma Vijigyasasva. Tapo Brahmeti. So he goes to the jungle and sits in meditation, and after some days comes back to the teacher, to his guru, father, and says, now I understand. This Anna is Brahma. He says, no, go back. Prana is Brahma. After many days he comes back because prana is vitality. That is what I know. Go back. That is not the thing. Then he comes, Mano Brahmeti. He says, mind is Brahm because I think I am. No, that is not the end. Go further. Go do much more research. And he comes back. And finally when he comes back, his face is glowing and he doesn't say anything. The guru knows and the shishya knows that he has touched that reality. We are always confusing you, that is not I, the object, for the subject. I am something different. The dualists go through the path of bhakti and touch that same reality and call it God. The Advaitin is told to go through this path of what we call negation or whatever, and then come to that reality. Now the next important question is, you are all here, you are all so busy, taking a lot of trouble, you have come here to listen about some Advaita Vedanta. In what way is it relevant to modern times? Some thousands of years ago, yes. Nowadays, for this busy world, in what way is this Advaita Vedanta useful for us in our life? It's an important question. We shall come to that now. As you all know, there are definitely many engineers and scientists here. They all know that something new is happening since the last 50, 60 years. The world has changed completely. What happened? We have the computer. During the 1960s and 70s, when the computer was new, we had to sit before the computer and type. When we get up, the computer idea is gone because computer is limited to that computer. You used to work there. Slowly something else came. We called it internet. So internet slowly connected us. We started using it in a better way, the same computer, but the instrument was necessary. Internet is called in Sanskrit Antarjala or something like that. It is just like the Maya Jala. What is this Maya Jala? We consider everything to be permanent, solid, real. But that is all, even according to physicists, even according to Vedantists, it is all not exactly real but relative. Relative in what sense? It is not unreal but relative. Relative means in time it is there, in time it is not there. That is important to remember. Many people who describe Advaita, Vedanta, etc. make this wrong idea, that not wrong, unreal. People will not understand what unreal means. They think anyway, they are saying that Mitha. Brahma Satyam means Sat in the sense of existence or being. Satyam in the sense of being, that reality. That is absolute. Trikala Badhitam, they say. What does Trikala Badhita means? It is not, it is there in the past, it is there in the future, every time. That is only one reality called Brahman or whatever. The rest of it is in time. Maybe a tree is there for 100 years. Maybe a plant is there for 10 days. Maybe the snake we saw in a row for 1 second. But all this time also is very little compared to the trillions and trillions of years that is there in us. So everything is relative. The mistake we are doing is to consider everything to be solid, permanent and holding on to that, including our false ego. So we must give up that. Now coming back to this computer. Why I am saying this computer, this thing is because what is the use of studying Advaita now in these modern times? When internet came, we started using more of computers. Then we had laptop and now we have mobile phone, etc. Something else is happening. You need not sit all the time before your computer or laptop nowadays. There is something called ubiquitous computing. What is ubiquitous computing? They fit computers to different, say for example your refrigerator, your car, etc. everywhere. That means you need not sit before your instrument. It is called pervasive intelligence. All of you know about this. What I am speaking is all elementary because much more advancement has been done. So ubiquitous computing or pervasive intelligence means you need not sit before your laptop or computer and work. Everywhere it is there. This is one stage. Then, as you all know, the next step is Internet of Things. Now you are sleeping on your cot. Your fridge sees that there are no eggs but guests are coming. It will order for eggs. The eggs come. So everything is now interconnected. Then you need not, already it is all there in the United States, etc. Here also maybe driverless cars. So the car goes and it sees another car, it talks to it and then makes way for it, and the doors and windows, etc. open accordingly. Everything is now a different magical world called Maya. This is the Internet of Things now. It is being developed so fast, and big companies are investing billions and billions of dollars on all this, and all of you know that. I know very little, I have studied a little, I am sharing this, using this knowledge for this talk, that's all. Internet of Things. Then there is this augmented reality, that is the next stage. As you all know, what is augmented reality? Suppose you go to a shop. You want to buy a sofa for your house. The sofa part is real. What you do is, you take the picture of the sofa, you change the background of your house, of your room, etc., the same window, etc., and see how it looks there. No, it doesn't look good. Take another sofa. The sofa part is real. The background is unreal. Nowadays, as you all know, most of you used during this coronavirus period, what is that called, Zoom, etc., for lectures and so many things. And there you change backgrounds as frequently as you can, as if you are sitting on the seashore, whereas you are sitting in a room. All this is very normal now. So this is augmented reality that is becoming very real now. Companies are all using them, and our knowledge is elementary, as I say again and again. What is happening is much more. Farming, for example, there are no more farmers, so no more farmer agitation. Computers are doing farming. Only thing is, a gentleman had come to our Holland Center and he was telling me the main problem here is to keep changing the password as quickly and as frequently as possible, because if some error happens, if somebody hacks it, the robot will cut off all the trees and plants within moments. It's all gone. So instead of planting, they remove everything. So this is happening in every field, development, medicine especially. Lot of things are happening so far as augmented reality is concerned. Then there is one more thing which is higher, called virtual reality. This is still more amazing, still more magical. You go to some place, there are many parks and zoos. You are sitting with your child. Suddenly a penguin comes and jumps on you, throwing splashing water. You jump up, but there is neither the penguin nor the water. You may see on YouTube there are many videos where tigers are moving about. You try to touch the tiger, children are very happy. They see a chimpanzee moving about, they see this thing, and they see fish in this thing. All that is happening. This is virtual reality. Why I am saying all this is because what we call Maya, according to Advaita, is one. We are adding more and more nets. Already we were in one net. That is called this fake idea that everything is solid and permanent. Along with that, we are seeing or adding several more nets. It is like a tiger wants to escape. It is not allowed to escape. They put one net, then another, and it is caught. This is what is our situation. Suppose you think you will reject this Internet of Things, this virtual reality, augmented reality, etc. Can you? Even though you may go to a far-off village, you cannot now. Because everybody here, you have your Aadhaar card, etc. Suppose you punch an Aadhaar card somewhere, the person will know all your background and details within moments. So it's all connected now. You cannot escape from this. And then finally, there is something more coming now. AI, artificial intelligence. This is another universe we are creating. Now they are claiming that it is God, because they can create anything. So the argument went on. I allowed them to talk. You see, we can do anything now. Whatever you can think of, we can do. God is not necessary anymore. We are gods. Even you can see, most of you will have read that, I know, articles that AI is God and the makers of AI are gods. They are creating a new world and so on. It's all very common. This is a claim. I asked that gentleman and his wife, very good that you are considering yourselves to be gods, but where are you doing all this? On the earth, created by somebody whom we call God or whatever. Why don't you go out of this universe completely, even living this body, create your own world, use your own things, not things used by our God, made by our God, and create it. Suppose I go to somebody's house and then draw a picture of that house and say, hey, listen, this is my house because I have drawn the picture, he will say you are mad. You sit in my house, use my pen and paper and draw my house and say it is yours. It cannot be. Similarly, AI or whatever is not God. And then we have this chat GPT where every question is answered. Whatever you feed will come. What we call Internet of Things is all data. What you feed will come back. There is no original intelligence, though they say that robots have original intelligence. Anyway, this world is coming now. We are in this world of Maya. First, we have to overcome this Maya and then think that the world we are in is another Maya created by avidya or adhyasa, and then go back to that reality. So maybe before the 17th or 18th century things were simpler because there was no Internet of Things, etc. Now things have become complex. We have added more of nets to ourselves. Therefore, the study of Advaita Vedanta is relevant and important. How? Suppose we are in this net. What does this Advaita tell us? It doesn't tell us about which net you are in or which Maya you are in or what you are seeing. It says, find out who you are. That is all. Once we know who we are standing on firm grounds. Swamiji's remarkable words are, each soul is potentially divine. That divinity, until and unless we awaken or touch or in some way think of that divinity, we are bound by this Maya. However much we may be strong, this will not go away. We cannot brush aside this because our mind wants things to be permanent. We are seeing that famous question that Yaksha asks Dharmaraja and others. What is the greatest mystery of this world? He says people see everything passing and still they consider everything to be permanent. Everything. Bahuveer huye, balavan huye, kitne na mahipat maan huye, tum kahe bhrame, mat maan karo. So bahuveer huye, everything is passing in this world, but still we think that no, we will hold on to this permanent. Advaita Vedanta is not Bhelki or something like that. What Advaita Vedanta Shankara says is, Yushmadasmat pratyaya gocharayoho vishaya vishayinoho. The difference is tamah prabhava prakashavat. The difference is between like darkness and light, but we confuse that. We think, no, this is real, this is solid. But for us, Atman is unreal because we don't know anything about that. What we are really, we don't know. It is like our, say, suppose our coat and pant, etc. goes around the city and says, I am this man. But the man himself is not there like that. So what we are doing is, we don't know about that reality and we confuse that reality for something else. That is called false ego. And think everything is permanent, solid, etc. Therefore, Advaita Vedanta, whether it is now or even after 100,000 years when different types of Mayas come, there is only one hope, and that is to hold on to that inner reality. What happens? You remember Swamiji's words. Success will come, glory will come, goodness will come, everything that is good and great will come when the sleeping soul is roused to self-conscious activity. Swamiji's words. All power is within this Atman, Swamiji said. So what we have to do in this world of so-called relativity or Maya is to awaken or to think that we are something different from these floating things. We must accept that this is all relative. They are all time-bound, desha kala. Therefore, while Shankaracharya gave the philosophical basis for relativity, Albert Einstein gave the mathematical basis for relativity. That is what we must understand. Albert Einstein used the same example of two trains. Swami Vivekananda said that if there is something relative, motion is always relative. It is relative to something. Otherwise, in space, if you keep on falling inside a tin, you don't know whether you are falling or going up or whatever. You don't know. Something should be there to compare. That is relativity. Relativity of motion. That Shankara, as I read here, Shankara says, Navi Gachantyam, the person is moving in a boat and he sees that the trees are going backwards, but no. And he sees that they are all stationary, but no, they are not stationary. Everything is moving very fast. Our own earth is moving very fast. So this is relativity of motion according to Advaita. That is what Einstein did later. So when we just say, oh, Brahman is real, everything else is unreal, we are just making things very real because people don't understand what is unreal. Unreal means what? In what way is this unreal? We are all living here, breathing here, breathing here, and then we say this is unreal. It is not unreal in that sense, it is relative in time. The snake is also real because I saw it at that moment. The penguin that jumps and splashes water, even today in this virtual reality, is also real for that moment because your eyes are seeing that. Then what is the difference between this reality and that? This is also not real. This is our imagination that this is solid. You read any physicist, he will say, no, solid is not solid. It's all just atoms only, and you are pressing it, your atoms are pressing there, and therefore you feel it is solid. So nothing is real in that sense, or in that everything is relative, means time, in time, desha kala. That is what is the essential idea of Advaita. And that Swami Vivekananda says, when you touch that Atman, he says about Maya, Swamiji's wonderful this thing is, he says statement of fact. Statement of fact means you see things and they are there at that moment, that's all. It's time. In time they are there, and time also is not absolute. That our Shastras said again and again. Shankaracharya said that. Now Einstein declared for the first time that time is not absolute. It is always space-time. They are together. They are relative. All that we know. Now they are saying the same things. Even Aryabhata, those 4,000 years ago, mentioned all these things. Our ancient masters were thoroughly scientific. When they used Sanskrit, they were speaking scientific truths which nowadays are spoken in the mathematical language. That's all. Even for that matter, Aryabhata used the mathematical language only. So therefore, this is the reality. What is reality? There is something called absolute which doesn't change in any time, and time itself is not there, and that is what is called Brahman. Brahman is not God, as you know. Brah is the root, which means expansive, vast, unlimited, infinite. Infinite does not mean for our physical this thing, samudrer mato bishal, not like that. A point also is infinite. So therefore, infinite means something which is not bound by anything. That the rest is relative. Recently, a scientist who worked in NASA for many years, wrote a book called The God Theory. In that God Theory, he mentions what he thinks of Advaita. According to him, what we speak of this Maya is just cutting off the light which is absolute. Suppose, for example, in your house you are sitting near the window. The window is open, there is sun there, sunlight is falling, but there is a tree. The leaves of the tree are shaking, and on the opposite side, facing you, there is a shadow movement. What is happening there? Entire sunlight would have come, but the tree or the leaves are stopping some of the light. He says this is called Maya. When they say go to that absolute, they say remove the tree. What you think as permanent is not permanent, remove the tree. Now finally my time is up. We remember a wonderful thing that happened in the life of Swamiji. Swayam Shiva. Shiva's other name is Kala, time. A wonderful experience by the grace of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. Swami Vivekananda was just lightly speaking about this pot is Brahman, this jar is Brahman, etc. Sri Ramakrishna came and said, Tumra ki bolcho, and he touched him. And Vivekananda, as we know, the story goes, he saw both. What did he see? Cornwallis Street. He strikes his head to the lamp. He says he is seeing Brahman and same this. So in time, he saw both the absolute and the relative. This relative keeps on changing. What was there 50 years ago or 100 years ago is not there now, it changes. Because he was Shiva himself, to tell the world that this happens, Swami Vivekananda, because of his magnanimous power, he could see both the absolute and the relative at the same time. What is that absolute? That which will never change. That is the basis. What did the Buddhists say? There is no basis. According to the Buddhists, Sarvam Dukkham, Sarvam Kshanikam. Those of us who came here 1 hour ago are completely different according to Buddhism. Those who are here are completely different. It keeps on changing. How did this happen? According to Sanghata. But according to these Advaita Vedantis, it is Vivarta. That is the word they use, as you all know. Vivarta means Brahma Vivarta. It is actually absolute, but we are seeing, as the scientist said, it is actually reality. We are seeing it as Maya, this world, etc. That's what they say. But what is this? Relative only. And the others are Brahma Parinamavadins, called the Ramanuja people. They say it is really change that has happened. And Sankhyan say it is Prakriti Parinamavada. But all of them ultimately says that this is not permanent. That is our Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma is always positive. It always takes us to the reality through whichever path. It says there is only one reality, what you may call it God or Brahman or whatever, that is the reality. Why different paths? Because as we all know, to suit different minds. So what is this Advaita therefore? Advaita is the idea that my idea of myself now is wrong. I am that infinite reality, but I think I am this limited personality. That false ego is wrong. When that goes, this world, whatever it is, will not bother me. Finally, the story of Swami Vivekananda is an example of this. Swami Vivekananda is walking along the desert. He sees the mirage. He sees trees, plants, and then water. He walks towards that. Then suddenly, he realizes that, oh, I have read so much about that. The next day, they did not go away. They are all there. The lake is there, the tree is there, everything is there, but he knows what it is. So when we know that we are that reality, this thing will not affect us. We are that absolute. This is the idea. My respectful pranams to all of you. So kind of you for listening. My respectful pranams to Swamiji's. Jai Ram Krishna, Jai Mogesha, Sarvam Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.